Welcome to another episode of the Ambitious Legacy Podcast. I'm your host, Sabine the Purpose Lawyer. Thank you for listening and thank you for helping me be on purpose. All right, so today we're going to get into a conversation about entrepreneurial estate planning, right? What is that, Sabine? What are you talking about? So, I'm talking about putting a plan in place for your business, your baby that you've started, whether it be a small business, or it be a medium-sized business, or it be, a huge corporation. Whatever the case may be, you're going to need a plan in place if something should happen to you, or maybe you just want to retire, right? Maybe you just didn't get into this business to do it forever and ever until you die, but maybe you want to get out early and have some more freedom with your time. So that's going to include a process called succession planning, right? So it's basically estate planning for your business. So let's get into a little bit of the basics. I usually like to double back and cover that for anybody who's here for the first time. So estate planning is a plan for all of the stuff that you have of value in your life, right? So it could be your real estate, your bank accounts, I already said your real estate, your bank accounts, your investment accounts, your retirement accounts, etc. It's a plan for all of your stuff, right? That's what your estate plan is. Now, your business is an asset, right? Something that's of value that's part of your estate. And that is something that you should also be planning for. But because businesses can be dynamic, some can be small, can be big, they can have a lot of moving parts. It has its own sort of section of estate planning that can go deeper than just protecting you and all of your stuff, but really going into what's going to happen within the business, who's going to actually run the business, and how is everyone going to pay for all of this, right? If it comes to that. So, those are the unique challenges of businesses in estate planning. And so that's why we have succession planning. And so succession is really just a feature of estate planning that talks about who's going to step in, who's going to take over and keep this show running if one person passes away, right? And especially when businesses have multiple partners, right, and multiple families that are involved, now it starts to get more and more complicated and so many more layers involved. But I just wanted to kind of get you aware, open up your minds to the different options, and that this is a particular area that you can also find additional protection, because we all about layering on the protection and making sure that you are covered, right? So we want business owners to really listen up. So listen up if you're a business owner, or if you plan on owning a business, or if you know someone who owns a business and you want to share this information with them. So we're going to get into some strategies to help business owners plan and prepare for the next phase of their business, whether, like I said, whether it be retirement or it be sales or what have you. So, one of the strategies, and it's a very important strategy that business owners sometimes overlook, it is developing a future leader of your business, right? And this should be something that's done right out of the gate. Really, as soon as you start running your business, as soon as your business is up and running, you want to think about who can continue to run this business or can continue to be able to step in if I become ill, or I'm not able to run it, or I just want to retire, or some other life circumstance happens that won't allow you to run the business. Who can be there as a second in command and potentially the future leader of your business? So that should be something that's always top of mind. So you want to think about looking at individuals in your business who have certain skill sets, right? Looking at how they handle particular situations, what experiences do they have that's going to help them to be you or be the next iteration of you, right? Sometimes we can't find someone who's better than us. If you can, that's awesome and amazing, and you should. But if you don't happen to have someone who's better than you, who could be the next iteration, who's good enough, who's close enough, with training and support and nurture and development, can become the next leader of your business, right? So you want to plan for alternatives. And then sometimes we want to look within the family, right? If you are a parent and you want to pass on your business to your child, is there a child who has these characteristics, right? Or if you or it doesn't even have to be a child, it could be, any family member that you think is able and has the right qualifications and the right characteristics to take over, you can start developing them. You can start educating them on what it is to run this business and how to take this business to the next level. And I've seen many, businesses where children have come into the business who have a desire to be working in the business and have come to take the business to the next level, or have been able to 10x what their parents have started, or take a business that was a mom and pop or a one-stop shop and make it, multiple locations or franchise or whatever the case is. So there's a ton of opportunities there, but we have to start, where we are, right? We definitely want to make sure that you're keeping this in mind and it's something that you're doing. It's never too early to really start developing the next leader of your company. Next, that's number one. So number two, you want to think about if your business has liquidity, right? Liquidity in your business means that, is there enough cash in my business where if something happened to me, I would be able, or the business would either be able to buy out my interests so that my family can have the cash, or if something happened to one of my partners, would the business have enough to buy them out? So I want to tell you a little story here about a business owner that I know who had two partners and had a business, and they actually thought they had a plan in place, right? So they didn't have estate plans individually, but they did have what's called a buy-sell agreement. So the buy-sell agreement basically states that if one of the partners pass away, the other partners have the right to buy out their family members, right? But what's important with a buy-sell agreement is that you need to have the funds, right, to be able to do that. And most businesses, like say for example, you have a business that has three owners. Business might be profitable, might be getting sufficient income, might be doing well, but most businesses don't have a liquid, at least say a third or a quarter, however many different partners there are. So say they don't have liquid a third of the value of the business to just pay out to a family member. That might really hurt the business's operations or bottom line, and it might not allow them to continue to run the business. So what happens is when you have a buy-sell agreement, you need to have insurance, you need to have liquidity. Right? So insurance, if one owner passes away, the insurance policy pays out to the business, and then the business is able to then buy out the family member, right? And then can continue to run without hurting or harming the functioning of the business. So in that case, that business owner who had two partners, one of the partners passed away, they had a buy-sell agreement, but they did not have insurance. They did not fund that agreement. And so because of that, the business didn't have enough liquidity. They had to take out loans to try to figure out how to buy out the family members so they can keep running the business, because they didn't want to be in partnership with the deceased owner's family, right? Because that presents a whole host of other problems that might hurt the business. So that is one thing. That is the second thing that business owners want to keep in mind, is to make sure that the business has enough liquidity. So having the proper insurance in place on the lives of the important people in the business will definitely help you to continue to run the business in the long run. And again, especially when there's multiple partners in place. So the next thing is that each person needs to have an estate plan. Each owner needs to have an estate plan as to what's going to happen with their interests when they pass away. So for instance, who is this going to go to? Who's going to be the rightful owner of their share of the business? And who, if say for instance the rightful owner of their share of the business is a child, then who is going to be the adult who's going to run and manage that business? Or is the business to be sold, or what have you? Whatever the decision is, there should be a plan for that. So that should be something like I would recommend a trust, but it could even be a will that states that, this is the individual who's going to benefit from my interest in the business. And if it's in a trust, it also makes it easier to continue to run the business as, still owned in the trust without having to make any other arrangements. And it allows for whoever's going to take over to be a smooth transition, right? And then that was number three, right? The putting that that actual estate plan in place, such as having a will or a trust that owns the business. Well, a will can't own the business, but a trust can own the business, but at least speaks to what's going to happen with the ownership of the business, right? So number three. So number four is basically making sure that you update these plans, right? So things change, the values of the business change. You might be taking part of you might get new partners. You might want to sell off part of the business, and just make different business decisions. And so as those things change, you want to make sure you update that your plan as well, right? So those are the considerations that business owners need to have for estate planning, entrepreneurial estate planning, right? So I want to just like reiterate what are the things we talked about. We talked about succession planning for your business. So putting a plan in place for who's going to take over. You want to, one, make sure that you develop future leaders. You want to, two, make sure that your business has sufficient liquidity, so has sufficient cash basically in the business, whether that be through insurance or just savings, right? Number three, you want to make sure that you have your actual estate plan in place, so your will, your trust, and any other supporting documents you need to make sure that your plan is going to go according to what you desire, and that your business is protected for whomever is going to take over. And then four, making sure that you update over time. All right. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for tuning into this episode and coming back every week. Once again, if you have any need for legacy planning, estate planning, succession planning, please feel free to reach out to our firm. We're here to help. We're here to guide you if we can. If we cannot help you, we'll be happy to tap you into our network anywhere in the country. So feel free to reach out to us. The information will be in the show notes. Also, don't forget to get a copy of You're Richer Than You Think, my book. It explains all of the beautiful, wonderful aspects of estate planning to help you get started and gain some understanding. And if it's not for you, you could gift it to somebody else. So again, the link for that will be below as well. And I hope you just got some great information. So be sure to tune in next week, and I'll see you next time.